Hi, my name is Jack Bourne, and I'm going to show you how to build AJAX web applications. And what you're looking at is the introduction. Believe me, I am not a huge fan of PowerPoint, but I thought it would be a good tool to go through some of the tools that you're going to see me use in some of the tutorials, and I'll give you some links. I'm going to go through this kind of fast, but I want to give you some ideas about some of the tools that I'm using. And don't worry, I will give you links to all of these tools in the resources section. So don't worry if one of the slides goes too fast. There will be other ways for you to get all the links that you need. I'm going to make sure that you have links that take you to each of these tools. All right, so first of all, disclaimer. I'm going to recommend resources. You are taking upon yourself to do your own due diligence. These are resources that have worked for me. I cannot be responsible for any sort of damages to your computer that are very unlikely to happen, but could potentially happen. So when you download something from the internet, you're taking your own risks here. So please don't contact me and tell me that I owe you a computer. I've given you this disclaimer. Okay, back up your computer, and also when you're making changes to your website, it's good to do a backup of all your database and website files. I'm going to do my best to walk you through this in a way that makes it very easy and very safe for you to follow along, but still you need to do your own due diligence and back up your files. Okay, now when I'm going through these slides, if I give you a link that no longer works, guess what? All you have to do is go to Google and type in the information. For example, if I give you a link to the Firefox browser and the link no longer works, go to Google and type in Firefox browser, and Google will show you what the most obvious link would be. Okay, so let's go through some of these tools. You're going to see me use the Firefox browser. Now, it does not matter whether you use Firefox or Internet Explorer, but I'm using Firefox. There's a lot of reasons why. Some of those include the fact that you can put add-ons into the Firefox browser, such as Firebug. That's the second line here. Firebug is an add-on for Firefox that makes it so easy for you to debug JavaScript. Before, if you're just using Internet Explorer, I'm not aware of any tool using Internet Explorer where if you've got a JavaScript problem, it will give you an idea, point to exactly what's going on, and give you some information about what's going on when the web browser is trying to communicate with your web server. So in other words, Firebug gives you a lot of information, and this is one of those cases where a demonstration is worth 10,000 words. So I'm just going to tell you up front, Firebug, go install it into the Firefox browser. You'll be glad that you did. Web developer, same thing. Gives me the ability to turn JavaScript on and off and do all sorts of other really quote-unquote nifty things. And you're going to see me use this time and time again throughout the demonstration. Fire FTP is another add-on. I do not use this very often, but I just wanted to throw it out there because we're talking about Firefox add-ons. If you don't have a dedicated FTP client or software tool, then Fire FTP is one that you can use through the Firefox browser. It's an add-on, so you download it, install it into Firefox, restart Firefox, and you have an FTP client. Now, what you're going to see me use for FTP is FileZilla. It's one that I've been using since almost from the very beginning when I started developing web pages. It's probably the most popular FTP software out there. The other one that I already mentioned is Fire FTP. You could use Dreamweaver, but I like to recommend that you use a dedicated piece of software for FTP. In other words, whether it's free or paid, I recommend that you have a piece of software on your computer that does nothing but FTP stuff. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. It's just software that enables you to move files from your hard drive, your computer, up to your web server, and also down from the web server down to your computer. So this is if this is kind of new to you, then I just wanted to go over that this is the software that moves files that we're going to work on, moves them to your web server where you can play with them on the web and other people can see them as well. Okay, you're also going to see me using some code tools. One of those that I have not mentioned yet is Notepad++. This is a free open source piece of software that you can download to your, if you've got a Windows computer. I don't know if it works with Apple, or with Macs, but if you've got a Windows machine, then you can download Notepad++, and it's very handy. It just makes it a lot easier to write code, and it's a lot easier to spot problems if you're writing code. Now, you may have a better piece of software that there are tons of code editors out there. You may have something you like better, and that's fine. Use whatever you're comfortable with, but I wanted to tell you that what I'm using, just in case you said, hey, that's pretty neat, where do I get that, what is that? I wanted to go ahead and mention it's called Notepad++. So just Google it, Notepad++ will be very easy to find. And the other one I already mentioned is Firebug. It's an add-on for Firefox. Makes it extremely easy it makes it a lot easier to figure out what went wrong with JavaScript, especially Ajax code. And so without Firebug, I would have banged my head against the wall, and probably jumped out of a third-story window trying to debug JavaScript code. So it makes it a lot easier. The JavaScript that you're going to see me using, and this I'm going to go through in a lot more detail, so don't bother writing down these URLs, but you're going to see me using jQuery, or jQuery, however you want to pronounce it, but this is the JavaScript, or yes, I said that correctly, the JavaScript library that I'm going to be using. It makes it, I shouldn't say extremely easy, it makes it much, much easier to do some very powerful things with JavaScript, and particularly write Ajax web applications. So you don't have to write these things from scratch. The library gives you a set of tools that I'm going to show you how to use. And then there's a form plugin that works with jQuery, and you'll see me use that. So that's the URL to go get the form plugin. And then I'm going to use another set of tools later on in the demonstrations. This is more along the lines of, I think there's probably going to be a dozen or so demonstration files that you're going to be looking at. And around demonstration file number 8, 9, and 10, maybe 9 and 10, I'm going to start using a JavaScript library called Mapstraction, and that is going to give us the ability to do some things with Google Maps that makes things easier. Okay, moving right along. Google Map. Go to code.google.com/APIs/maps, or just go to google.com and type in Google Maps APIs, or Google Map API, and it will take you to the page where you can sign up for a free not a free Google account, but you can sign up for the API key, which is free, but you do have to have a Google account. So if you've got Gmail, then you can go ahead and get your API key, and I will go over this in great detail later on with another tutorial, but I just wanted to go ahead and mention it. Now, the web server, you're going to need to have a web server, whether it's running on your own computer, but more likely you're going to want a web server that is actually connected to the internet, and so you're going to need to make sure that you have MySQL databases. The more the better. I suggest a web hosting company that gives you unlimited number of MySQL databases. You also want to make sure that your hosting company is running a current version of PHP. Some of the code that you're going to see me write later on in the tutorials require PHP 5, and not all hosting companies offer PHP 5. And so right now there's two different flavors of PHP. There's PHP 4 and PHP 5. And PHP 5 comes with some functions and features that PHP 4 does not. So you want to make sure you got a web server that has PHP 5. Now, I've been creating my own websites, building websites for other people for what I consider to be a long time. And during those early years, I struggled with finding a reliable host. I spent my own money. Anyways, I found several web hosting companies that I have bought dedicated servers through, and I've got, I'd say two or three really good hosting companies. So if you don't have a good website hosting company, or if you want to know of another one, then I'll take you to the one that I use, and I have a promotion code that gives you 1 penny for the first month. Just go to 15 days of jQuery.com/hosting, and I'll give you the promo code so you can sign up for 1 penny for the first month. Try it. If you don't like it, cancel it. It only costs you a penny. So that's pretty much it. That is the introduction of building Ajax web applications. And so let's go ahead and jump in and get started with the next chapter.